This is Deuteronomy chapter 8. I'm going to start at verse 1. All the commandments which I have commanded thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers. Shalom, Israel. I would like to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings to the elect across the four corners of this earth, kicking this word of sincerity and truth. I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, and on the other line we have
Shamar.
And we're just going to do a quick lesson, just going on to the chastisement that we're going through, but ultimately it's the trying process to refine us, to prove us worthy to enter into that land that the Most High promised to our fathers ages ago. All right, so I'm going to start at Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter again. I'm going to read the first verse again, and we're going to break down. We're going to bring a few precepts out, and, we'll see how long it goes. Ultimately, it's through the Spirit. But Lord willing, it's edifying to brothers, all right? So this is Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh sware unto our fathers. Now, this was Deuteronomy. When you read Deuteronomy, it's the last book of Moses when he actually is speaking to the children of Israel. He's pretty much briefly going through everything that they've been through in Egypt, in the wilderness, all the trials that they've been through, and he's explaining everything to them in a brief summary because they're on the other side of Jordan getting ready to cross the promised land because Moses wasn't going to be there with them. Okay? And when you actually go to this word Deuteronomy, it says word spoken. That's what the word means, because he's, again, speaking everything to them and giving them a rundown on everything, what they're going to need to do and everything that they've done. All right? So as we break down the first verse, it talks about, the law which we need to observe to do. Now, in this day and age we're living in, it's impossible to keep the whole law, but of course we have faith. But ultimately we got to follow to the best of our ability. And really the whole law is the whole book. So faith is even included in the law as well. So we got to be the ones to live by faith, whether what troubles that we go through, whatever hell that we might catch, because again, it's trying us and refining us so we can be able to make it into this land as unblemished lambs, or, children without blemish, as the scriptures talk about. Because when you go back into, and I'm going to just keep on reading because it breaks it down within itself. All right. So when you go to verse 2, it says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power led these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no." So what we're going through right now, of course, we're not in the wilderness for the 40 years, but when you read the scriptures, you gotta read it in the spirit, and you know that there's nothing new under the sun. We're going through a refinement process. It might not be the 40 years, but we're going through the same thing our fathers did in the wilderness. But when it says in there, it says to humble thee. So a lot of the stuff that we're going through right now is to humble us, to put us down. When you go to that word humble, it goes to the word humiliate. And we're in situations where we're humiliated at certain times, but it's pretty much to bring us on high. We have to be in a lower state in order to be brought high. We got to know the low blows in order to receive the kingdom. We got to know how it is to catch hell in order to receive the blessings that the Most High deemed upon us. Because if you put somebody in the elite class, the Rothschilds, in a situation that we are, and they got a kingdom coming to them as well, I'm just saying hypothetically, just an example, they're not going to be wanting the kingdom too bad because they weren't catching hell on this side. But for somebody who was brought low, taking lumps, taking blows, we're going to really cherish the kingdom. You know what I mean? But ultimately, again, it's a humbling process, and it's a trying of our faith. Like the scriptures talk about gold being tried in the fire. Okay? You got anything,
Right.
Samar?
Nah, you got it, bro.
Okay. Verse 3. "And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know the man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai doth man live." Okay? So it's plenty of precepts to go into when you read this, but it was a hunger phase that we went through in those 40 years back then. But again, it was to humble us and to really test our faith, to truly believe if the Lord was going to feed us or not. And we can think spiritually in this day we're living in right now, man. We know that the word is the man of heaven, pursuing in the book of John. And that's Yahweh Shai. That's why he said, man not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out the mouth of the Most High. That's how we truly live, man. This is our bread. This is the stuff that nourishes us. We might be in situations where we ain't gonna be able to eat. Hell, let's even take it to the part where we're gonna be brought back to the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? We might not be able to eat. You see what's going on in Venezuela right now. So we gotta truly keep this in the back of our mind that hell is gonna come here, and we gotta have faith and truly believe that the Most High is gonna deliver us out of that through His Son Yahweh Shai.
Right.
That's why it's important for us to fast. It's important for us to pray. When you really fast, it puts you in a process to really just, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's say, for example, again, hell breaks loose. We ain't gonna have nothing to eat. When you practice fasting, you're gonna be able to endure through it a little better than somebody who doesn't fast at all, period. And then when you get into that situation where you don't got nothing to eat, you gonna be quick to lose faith. And that's just an example. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you were talking about, us being in the last days and having faith and things of that nature, And I think in America, it says in Jeremiah, this is the city that dwelleth without care. One of the I guess hardest things to do is to, like we said in our last lesson, mortify your members. You know what I'm saying? Like, when to push yourself away from the table. You know what I'm saying? Because there's gonna come a point where you don't eat for pleasure. You're gonna eat to survive. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, when your spirit tells you, you need to stop now. That could help you in the wilderness. You know what I mean? You might have a bottle of water for 2 days between 3 people. You got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
God, brother, that's a good point. And it's beautiful that you brought up to the point where we're going to have to eat to live. That's why it's important for us to eat this roll. It's not a roll, a piece of bread.
That's right.
When you go to Ezekiel, when you go to Revelation, it talks about eating the roll. That's this word, man. And that's how we're truly gonna live. That's eternal life, man. That's how we live eternally, by reading, eating this word, and that's how the Lord sups with us. So we're gonna be able to maneuver throughout certain tough situations. Because it's gonna be a time, like we're talking about, where we're gonna be brought to a lot of tough situations. And this word, or the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, is going to be able to bring us out of those tough situations. But again, it's that refinement process. This is that humbling process that he's putting us through. And it's going to continue until the kingdom comes. Go ahead, brother.
You remember when when we were kids, your mom used to make those butter rolls.
Yep.
And on the bottom it would be real black. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't eat the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those lessons where it's like that bottom of that roll. You know what I mean? It's not going to taste as good. People don't want to hear about chastisement. People don't want to hear about humbling themselves or having to suffer. But this is that part of the road that you gotta endure in order to have all the rest of everything else. You know what I mean? Without that bottom foundation, you're not gonna have everything else. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's a good point, brother. That's a good point. I used to hate that black part, but hey, if it come down to eating, and knowing you don't got too much food in the house, you gonna eat that.
You're gonna eat that, man.
It's gonna be bitter in your belly. You might have to drink some water with it, man. But guess what? Mom made sure it was 8. Grandmama made sure it was 8. Yep. Especially daddy, when you living in the house with your father in there, you better eat that food. I pay these bills. Ultimately, who's the father that makes that commandment? That's Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Right.
And then, the bread and that water that you wash it down with is this word, because it's comforting. When you drink that water, it comforts your throat through that hard roughness of that bread, the hard, tough part. You drink that water, it's soothing to you. All of it goes back to this word, man. And that's how we truly live. That's our true nourishment. Even when you go jump back to the first verse, it talks about all the commandments which I should command thee this day, shall ye observe to do, that ye may live. So we're going to be brought in tough situations, but ultimately it's so we continue to live. And again, that's life eternally. Now, when you go to verse 5, thou shalt also consider in thine heart. And when you go to the word heart in the Hebrew, it's la'ab, which means your mind. So we're going to consider in our mind that as a man chastiseth his son, so Yahweh thy God chastiseth thee. So that goes into Hebrews 12:6, and I'll bring it out too. We can bring out a few precepts going into that. But again, the Most High is chastising us right now. Because before we was in this truth, we were nothing. We were niggas living in America going off. We were going off, man. We were through, you know? So the Most High is chastising us right now just to deem us worthy to be able to rule in his kingdom and live eternally. You know?
That's right.
I'd rather be chastised on this side than chastised ultimately when he brings that thermonuclear destruction. And even being in this truth, we screw up on occasions, man, because we're in the flesh, we're living in this wretched flesh like Paul talks about. You know?
Yep.
But with us living in this wretched flesh, the Most High chastises us still, whatever the case might be, whether it be your car, whether it be your money, whether it be certain thoughts that he puts to your head. You got to be able to go through that chastisement because you're that gold, according to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, that's being put through that fire. Person out all that extra BS, so we'll be actually truly that true gold, you know?
Right.
Now, that's all I wanted in Deuteronomy. You got a precept
I got
or
a
anything?
precept too.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Proverbs 13 and 24.
That's a spirit. That's a spirit. Proverbs 13 and 24?
Kind.
Okay.
He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him the time. You know what I'm saying? And you know, for me, you know, this is a personal experience within myself because, you know, me, I'm the oldest of three boys, and when I was coming up, we didn't have a life. You know, I got to a lot of fights, got a lot of beatings from my parents, this, that, and the third. But then you got the baby brother. He didn't have any of that, you know. And now he's a nigga out here. You know what I'm saying? Don't know how to handle himself. Don't know how to deal with situations.
Yeah.
Always crying. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the Lord is telling you. If he didn't put us in these captivities, because look in Deuteronomy 28 from the 1st to the 13th verse. You know what I'm saying? We had everything. You know. And then what do? We said, you know, we're gonna turn to these other places. And you see from 13 all the way down what happened to us. But the Lord can't just give you anything without you working for it. That's just a principle in life in general. You're not gonna become a millionaire just by, you know, playing the lottery. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to go through some things, man. In order for us to get to this kingdom, I mean, the kingdom of heaven suffer violence. You're gonna have to go through some things, man. You're gonna have to get disciplined, chastened. You're gonna have to lose. And you're going to have to get used to the mindset of losing, man. Like,
right.
You're going to lose your family. You're going to lose your wife. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your friends. And the Lord is trying to get used to you losing so he can increase you when it's time to win. Because the things that you're trying to hold on to in this society, they don't mean anything for the kingdom of heaven. All right?
Con, mind if I say something really quick? Just really quick, brother?
Go ahead.
That's beautiful that you're talking about we're going to have to lose on this side, because that's true. And it's a humbling process. When you lose all the time, it humbles you. It makes you better. It hardens you.
Yep.
So, you know, next time you lose or next time a tough situation happens, you'll be able to endure through it like a man, and you ain't gonna quiver up like a little girl. You know?
That's right.
When you lose it, you feel humiliated when you lose in certain, especially when you get blew out or something like that. It's a humiliating feeling. It humbles you down. Like, for example, I promise you got it back after this. I just want to break this quick point. Like, let's bring it in a worldly standpoint. When you try to make a business or something like that, when you try to win on this side, before you start that business, you got to take a lot of L's. Your business might go through the first time. You might lose a bunch of money. You might not get the clientele that you want. Whatever the case may be, you get this big old building and people don't come. It's humiliating. It's humbling. It's humbling, but throughout a dispensation of time and the more work that you do and the more the endurance that you have, that business is going to be built up and you'll get the fruit that you want. That's how we got to be in this truth, man, because we're building a foundation right now. This is a foundation that's being built. Like it says, set up a standard. We're setting up a standard right now, but setting up that standard, we're going to have to be brought low in plenty of situations, man. In tons of them. You got it, bro. Go ahead, brother.
You know, and, you know, just going into that, it has me looking at another precept in Matthew, you know, because a lot of people you want to be in this truth, but you want to build something on shaky ground. You know what I'm saying? God. You can't build on shaky ground, and you know people that, because here's what Jake needs to understand. You know, what you need to understand is you're going through this because the Lord might have you speaking to another brother, you know, that's gonna need this situation. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And you can be able to tell them, hey man, I went through this. I lost my job. I lost my one. Hey, I lost everything. But hey, this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? And if you fail to pass that test, guess what? Another year from now, the Lord will put you through the exact same test again. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're one of His children, He's gonna keep showing you. He's gonna go around just like the story of Jonah and Nineveh. He tried to run away from what he was supposed to do. The Lord swallowed him up, and he had to go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying?
And
because
Job
the Lord
came out humbled as well.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because if the Lord loves you, He's gonna put you through that hell, man. Because you have to be constantly reminded in your head, this isn't your rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might get a nice check every once in a while. You might go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? You might do all those different type of things. You might have your favorite wine that you know, something, whatever. You know, but you got to be constantly reminded every day, every week, this isn't your rest. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
right.
the Lord is doing this to me because it says in what is it? It's James chapter 1, I believe. I'm gonna pull this up for you real quick, if you don't mind. Let me see here. Okay, James chapter 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Okay? You've been a nigga for 20 years. I mean, just 5 years ago, you was getting edged, or 10 years ago, you was getting edged up to eating pork chops, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, brother.
Dealing with another man's woman, all those different type of things. You can't come in this thing 1, 2, 3, 10 years, 15 years, and you're in the prime. You're in your early 20s, early 30s. You know what I'm saying? You're a man with hormones and different type of energies and stuff. You got to fight all of that stuff off and still try to serve Yahweh Shah and fight the demons that you brought into the world before you knew you were an Israelite. Okay? That's why you're getting chastised, because you deserve it, man. You deserve it. You know what I'm saying? If you got your legs broke, if you got cancer, if you got AIDS, if your mama died, if your kid died and had a newborn, a stillbirth, and your woman left you, you deserved it, man. Look at all the stuff that you did before you came into this truth, man. You were completely going away from the spirit of Yahweh Shah. All right? You need to be thankful every time you go through some type of hell, because the Lord is purging all that iniquity out of you, man.
Brother.
Like it says in Proverbs.
No, go ahead.
Like it says in Proverbs 17:3, all right? Fire is the purity of silver, but the Lord tests the heart. Okay?
That's right, brother. That's right. Hey, the beautiful part is I actually got the definition of humble, in the blue letter. And when you go to this word, I'm really just gonna play it because it's the last one. It's pretty how you pronounce it. Oh, I guess because I'm on speakerphone, it won't do it. But it's all good. That word there is aina. Okay?
Aina.
And when you go to that word, it means to be occupied, which we're doing right now. We're occupying till Shiloh comes. Okay?
Right.
Be busied with.
Right.
We should be busy in this truth daily. There should be no excuse why we ain't putting videos up, because we're being humbled and we deserve the stuff that we catch. The least we could do is do the work. All right? It says now to afflict, oppress, humble, be afflicted, be bowed down. We're in a state of oppression right now. Jake talking, we will overcome. When you go to the history of America, we were oppressed over here. We were oppressed in Babylon. We were oppressed in Persia. We were oppressed in Greece. We were oppressed in Rome. We were oppressed in Egypt. We've been in a stage of oppression because we went away from our power. He didn't go away from us, but we went away from him. So he puts in a stage where we were being oppressed, and that's a humbling stage, so we actually know the lows, so we can be able to enjoy the high.
Right.
All right? Continuing on with this definition, to be put down, become low, to be depressed. And yeah, you in situations when you're oppressed or when you're afflicted that you're going to be depressed at times, because we know a kingdom's coming, but we got this devil on the back of our neck fucking with us, excuse my language, these demons messing with us, and it can make you depressed at certain times. But we know, again, ultimately, like you mentioned earlier, that we screwed up,
Right.
To stoop, okay? To be humiliated, like I mentioned earlier, weaken oneself, all right? To humble oneself. So again, we're going to be in a lot of situations where we're humiliated, whether it be a job that you don't want, you ain't paying your bills right, you can't afford to feed your children, you can't afford to feed yourself and your family. It's a humiliating feeling. You can't get a car, your credit's bad. It's humiliating, especially when you see the wicked prosper and you see the stuff that they're riding in, the stuff that they're doing, like it talks about in Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, the 7th verse. I see princes walking on the ground and servants riding on horses. A horse is higher than the ground does, and we walking. We're humiliated, man. Like when you go to the word hummus, the food, hummus, that's like earthly food, plants.
Right, that's deep.
Stuff
that's
that
real.
Comes from the soil, stuff that's brought low, That's the state that we're in right now. But again, ultimately going through with the lesson, we're being tried like gold is tried in the fire. We're being chastened. You know, we're being purged. The Lord's purging us of our iniquities, and we have to endure through it. Speaking of that, I got a quick precept. I didn't even plan on bringing this precept out, but it just goes along with the lesson. And it's in the book of Ephesians, chapter 3. And I'm going to start at actually not even start. This is the key point. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 13. Wherefore I desire that ye faint not at my tribulation for you, which is your glory. So he's considering these tribulations that we're going through, these trials, these afflictions, to be humbled. This is our glory, because this is the true test. And when you pass a test and get that good grade, isn't it a feeling of glory that you feel afterward because you was able to overcome those hard questions?
Right.
That's this test right here. We're going through a lot of trials, and through us overcoming these trials, we're going to receive our glory, which is the kingdom, which is that crown that we so longed for, being in this wicked kingdom through this hell. You know, a gold crown, silver, whatever it might be. It can be whatever it wants of our heart's desires. But this is our glory, man. This hell that we catching, to be men and be able to stand firm and have our loins girt about with this truth, and to be able to overcome this BS that we're going through, we're going to receive a crown of glory.
That's right.
Virtue, power, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So that's enough to keep me fighting. That's enough to keep us fighting. Ultimately, through prayer, that's going to help us endure through this stuff, and that shows that it's very important. But through all this stuff that we're going through, man, we're going to receive that glory, man, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful to know that it's coming soon. We're almost at the end of this thing, man. That's why these demons are so riled up, messing with us mentally. What, these devils all over the place messing with you. It's to the point where it's just you walk around and you have vexation in the spirit everywhere you go.
Yep.
You know? But again, ultimately, like Ephesians, the 3rd chapter says, this is for our glory. Like verse 14 says, for this cause I bow my knees unto the Father of our Lord, Yahweh Mashiach, Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
You know? For this glory, we bow our knees to him. When you bow, are you not sending up prayers to him? We should willingly be doing this because we screwed up. We shouldn't have no need not to throw up prayers every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, every hour, every 10 seconds, whatever it might be, man. Because ultimately, we're going to receive that crown. You know? Every time you catch hell, you got to send a prayer out. Lord, I hope I'm able to endure through this hell. Lord, please help me endure through this chastisement that I'm going through. Lord, please help me endure through this so I can receive this kingdom. You know? I got another scripture I'm going to go to really quick. In Proverbs, the 19th chapter, the 19th chapter, in the 18th verse. And it reads, chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. When we was in the wilderness, man, our people was complaining, crying, and he was still messing us up, man. And that's what you're supposed to do to your child, man, because it toughens your child up. It teaches your child, your son, how to be a man. How to be a man. You know? A man of great wrath shall suffer punishment. For if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. So if we're not chastised enough, we gonna do it again. We gonna screw up. But the more you beat your child, he ain't gonna do it no more. I know you know the feeling. I know the feeling. We was children and we screwed up. My dad would beat my behind, man. My dad would tear me and my brother up. But guess what? We didn't do it no more. And if we did do it, it wasn't willingly. We didn't have the knowledge that we did it. It might have been something different, but in that same category. And he beat our behinds for that. You know? And then he'll sit you down and give you that talk afterward on why he did it, man. That's the Lord beating us up and supping with us afterward, man.
Right, and another thing with the chastisement when you're talking about, getting whippings, if you get a good whooping, you don't forget that for a few months or a few years, or you might not ever forget it. So when you're around a situation where it's something similar to what you got a whooping for, you get reminded, I got my ass whooped for this. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? So there's certain situations that you go through the truth. The Lord, man, I mean, whether it's with a woman or a job, whatever, where you've gone through it. The Lord put you through so much hell. You're like, oh, not doing that one again. I'm
That's
done.
right.
Nope, I can't go through that again. And if the Lord saves you from that and you go back to it, one, you're gonna have more demons, and He might kill your black ass. You know.
That's right, brother.
You know, you don't know where the Lord's where. You know, everybody wants to have this David mercy, but you don't know where the Lord's mercy is with you. You have no idea. So it's best to walk that tightrope, man, and try to stay as spiritual as possible, 24/7.
That's real, man. I got one more scripture I'm gonna close out on, and
Okay.
this is Hebrews chapter 12. I'm gonna start at verse 3 because it's going into what you just explained. All right. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds. Ye have not resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And that's what we're doing, being down here in this punishment. You know, we're striving against sin. We're surrounded by people. We're surrounded by sinners. We're being put in certain situations as a test to see if we're going to do it. You know what I mean? But this is also
Right.
to keep, you know what I mean? That's why we got to pray and supplicate to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah so we don't be weary in our minds and faint, like the scriptures say. Okay?
Right.
Verse 5.
Right.
And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastising of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. So we ain't supposed to despise this behind that we catching, man. We ain't supposed to despise it at all, because this is love at the end of the day. This is this behind, this beating that he's doing to us so we can be right. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't supposed to faint when we do it. Oh, I'm catching all this hell. I can't do it no more, man. No, man. You ever been in football practice and your coach ended up getting on your behind for something you did wrong? Or you ever been that guy that the coach didn't get at you for doing something wrong? I'd rather be the guy that the coach is getting on real tough. Because if you that guy that he ain't getting on, that means you ain't getting no PT. And he don't really care about what happens to you. But he cares about that dude that's over there shining, that star on the team. We stars for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? So with him dealing with us the way he is and him chastising us, we supposed to rejoice in that, man. Because like the scriptures say in Ephesians, it's our glory, these tribulations that we're receiving on this side. You know? And the more work that you do in the football field, with him getting on your case, man, and you get that win afterward in that game, you're going to receive that glory. Go ahead, brother. You was about to say something.
You know, speaking, you know, both of us coming from sports background, you know, the coaches used to always ride the more talented players. And one of the players was like, why you keep riding me? And he was like, if I'm not saying nothing to you, that's when you need to start being worried.
That's right,
you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. If you just a nigga out here and you can eat shrimp and screw another man's wife and, you know, it seems like nothing is happening to you, hey, hey, man, you might want to, you know, man, I don't even know what to say about that.
You need to pray.
You know, but you don't want to be in that position. But if the minute you at the house and you bored and you start to say, I'm gonna watch porn, and then the phone rings, and then it's a brother calling you, you might why do you out? You know what I'm saying? Like
that's right.
Those are real life situations. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to be thankful for that, or you about to go, you know, you got your tithes of money, but you want to go and buy some jeans, and then the brother call you and be like, hey man, I just need some oil change. I'm short $30, and your tithe was $50. You know, like those are just different things that the Lord showed you. Like, hey, what you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Time, brother.
So you know, I just want to throw that out there, man. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourge every son whom he received. Let's go to this word scourge real quick.
All right.
When you go to this word scourge, in the Greek, it's mastigo. And it says to scourge. Hold on, let me see if I can find a better definition for it. Let's see here. Okay, when you go to the root of it, it's to handle or to squeeze, to chew, to consume, to eat, to devour. So he's going to chew you out. You know,
right.
Just like your father would do, or just like your coach would do. You know, he's going to chew you out. He's going to devour you. Man, coach is on my case. Oh, dad is chewing me out right now, man. It's because you did some stuff you weren't supposed to be doing. You know? So that's where you get mastigo from. And I'm just going to go to I might as well just say the word. And when you go to the root of it, it's masomi, okay, of mastigo. That's the root of it. All right? So going back to this verse 7. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with his sons. For what son is
Yep.
he whom the Father chastiseth not? Like what we talking about. What type of son is you if your dad ain't gonna deal with you? You gonna end up growing up being a wicked bastard child, being a wicked
Yep.
nigga. You know?
That's right.
So that's why it's important to us to endure through this stuff. Because 1, it's humbling. 2, it's our glory. And 3, we're gonna receive a kingdom from it. Ultimately, it's to make us better, man. It's to keep us being like men, to toughen us up,
Yep.
man, to make us hard. You know? The Lord ain't gonna
That's
want
right.
no soft, and he ain't gonna want no feminine men in the kingdom, man. No, he's gonna want some manly men that's gonna be able to rule. You know?
Yep.
You got anything else?
That's all, man.
Con, brother. Well, Thawada for the lesson, Thawada for, being on the lesson with me. Lord willing, it was edified to your Akim out there. Just we need to continue to pray. And the more lumps we take, man, that shows the Lord's dealing with us, man. So it ain't no time to faint, especially with us witnessing the stuff that we're seeing right now. This should keep us pushing harder because, like the scriptures say, this is our glory. But again, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutation to you elect Akim who are valiantly kicking this word in, spiritually in truth and sincerity. Man up and shalom.
Shalom.